What else does the National Corvette Museum have within their 115,000 square foot facility besides the actual museum? Well, there's a restaurant, lecture hall, archives, and a Corvette store, of course. They also have something very unique here, and that's the Corvette Museum delivery option. That's right, you can get your brand new Corvette delivered here direct from the Corvette factory, displayed on the boulevard in the Corvette Museum, and then drive it home from the museum. How cool is that? And it's not just limited to the current year models either. More on that in a bit. The museum is located in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is an hour away from Nashville. Other highlights in the area is Mammoth Cave, Lost River Cave, Crystal Caves. They have a lot of caves. Bourbon distilleries like Jim Beam and Maker's Mark, and the horse racing at Kentucky Derby are near here too. If you're a car guy, there's the Corvette Museum racetrack and the Corvette plant across the street. In September 1994, the museum opened its doors for the first time. From there, a cross-country caravan was formed to celebrate every 5th year anniversary. That's why it's so busy today. So what's a Corvette caravan? It's a cross-country drive with Corvette owners driving their Corvettes to the museum. I did this drive in 2014 and 2024 and made videos for both of them. Getting back to the museum delivery option, I thought this was only offered on current year models, as in brand new from the factory, and only available to US customers. Turns out, I was half right, with a condition. While at the museum, I noticed both C7 and C6 Corvettes on the boulevard for delivery. So for brand new factory delivered Corvettes, yes, it has to be US based. However, I can bring my Corvette, complete with 187,000 miles on it, and do a museum package delivery just like these owners have done. How does it work? Well, I would bring my car in the day before, which is preferred by the museum, or the morning of, to be dropped off for them to do a complete exterior detail and then move the car to the boulevard for display. I would be assigned a host who would go over some paperwork and present me with a plaque, decal, license frame, things like that, and also a 1-year museum membership and discounts at the Corvette store and track. Plus, they would be there for the unveiling on the boulevard to provide a hands-on discussion about my car. And yes, they are fully aware that I know all about my car. But it's always fun to chat with an enthusiast about my car. The cost? $500 plus tax. So is it worth it? Well, that's always going to be subjective. Personally, I think it would be a really cool experience. The Corvette store has, you guessed it, just about everything you can imagine related to Corvette. Shirts, jackets, mugs, keychain holders, signs, and of course little Corvettes. And one more thing before I head into the museum. There's a path out front that you can have your name or club name engraved into a brick and set into the path as part of support for the museum. And don't forget about the photo op just down the road with the Bowling Green, Kentucky sign. The museum features every generation of Corvette. There's 8 generations right now, with the newest one being the C8. So if you're coming to the 2029 Caravan, I would strongly suggest that you don't do the museum on the first couple of days. This is now the second day, it's Friday, and it's 3 in the afternoon. It is a lot less crowded than it was the first 2 days. The first Corvette on display in the museum is the first year they were made, one of 300 in 1953. Fun fact, when the owner bought this car 6 years ago, it was disassembled in 27 boxes. And did you know this original emblem had to be redesigned because the American flag can't be used commercially? The new one was hastily made and shipped to New York and installed on the show car just hours before the unveiling. The ZR1 display features a C4, C6, and that orange C7. While most of the cars displayed are like this, there's a few that are presented as a diorama. They feature a gas station, dealership, and a Corvette assembly plant. By hitting the like button, you'll help spread this video to others. Thank you. There's also this display of Richard Sampson's 1954 convertible with just over 2,300 miles that was, get this, entombed for 27 years as a time capsule. Then it sat in the living room of his daughter Cynthia for another 10 years before eventually ending up being donated to the museum. You can't talk Corvette without mentioning Zora Duntov, the godfather of Corvette. I'm not going to go through his life story, but you can pause the video and read about him. In essence, he changed Corvette by adding suspension tweaks, aero work, V8, hypo camshaft, fuel injection, and more. There's even a rumored Zora edition Corvette on the way. It's very appropriate to have a display about him here. In the education gallery, you'll find, among other things, pictures from the Corvette plant nearby. Next up is a race and purpose-built Corvettes, starting with the yellow number 3 car, C8R. When I bought my second Corvette, my first choice was a 1998 Indy Pace car that I have now. But my second choice was to have a yellow convertible, so I love this color. You'll find this car at the endurance races like Daytona and Le Mans. I even saw the PlayStation 3 Gran Turismo game Blue C7 Corvette. The design and concept cars starts with the iconic 1963 split window offered for just that year. Ironically, this valuable model year had owners that replaced the split window with a regular one, never thinking that this would become very sought after. Both the Manta Ray and the XP819 had some pretty unique redesigns on them. Check out their super long noses, exposed headlights on the Manta, pillar mounted side mirrors, and the XP's radical rear end. Remember all of those caves I told you about that Kentucky has in abundance? There's one here too. Well, there was a cave-in back in February 2014. A large sinkhole developed inside the museum and swallowed 8 Corvettes in a 30-foot deep hole, complete with caves under them. I was there that summer, and had I known I was going to have a YouTube channel, I would have taken a bunch of video. Instead, I took pictures. Of course, by then, all the cars had been removed and were on display prior to the restoration process, and the building and the floor were stabilized in time for the caravan event. The museum pays homage to that time in the form of this cave-in walk-through experience. It shows video from the collapse, the cars hoisted out, repairs of the floor, and of course, the restoration of 3 of the cars. As part of the footage from the museum on that fateful night, I still remember thinking, does this mean that the caravan is cancelled? Nope. They had it fixed and stabilized for viewing. You can see the floor literally sinking before finally giving away completely.
Another car, one bigger car, wedged in between the wall and the concrete slab. And as part of getting that in,
Here are some pictures 7 months after the cave-in. The hole is a massive 60 by 40 and 30 feet deep, and incredibly enough, didn't collapse the walls or the center spire of the building. The cars are all lined up to see. Of the 3 cars that were restored, one was a 2009 ZR1, the 1 millionth Corvette, a 1992 C4, and a black 1962 C1. All that physically remains as a clue to where the sinkhole was is this portal. The 2009 ZR1 Blue Devil was hoisted up first, and unbelievably, it started right up. The other 7 cars, well, they didn't start because a lot of them came up in pieces. There was a 2001 Z06 that was only on display for 13 days. It was also one of the hardest to get out of the hole. The silver lining? The museum experienced a 71% increase in attendance. Stabilization was completed in July, and I was there at the end of August to capture these pictures. They also had the crowd favorite cutaway cars with the C8 displayed outside. The E-Ray is also here, as well as a new ZR1 which arrived while I was editing this video. Alright, I'm going back to the hotel. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been here for 4 hours. It's pretty warm, it's 37 degrees, and I am absolutely exhausted. I've done a video every day since I first started. But wait, there's more. There's still so much to see here, including that right-hand drive C8 and the only 1983 Corvette in existence. The last room is a car art display, and then it's through the Corvette store to go buy that little Corvette, and finally, a much-needed stop in the bathroom.